Hello. I am the Linux Mench. Previously, I did an Arch installation where I manually typed in all the commands for my base install. And then after the fact, I did another video on post-installation where I installed software and all the configurations I like to use when I'm running Arch. Now, Arch Linux has always been an installation that you have to go into the TTY and manually type in all the commands and build your own system. If you wanted to use an automated installer, you had to use a third-party installer, or you had to install a different distribution that was based on Arch, like Manjaro, Arco Linux. Now, about a year, I think it might even be a year and a half ago, Arch started to include an automated installer in their system. So now you can install Arch with an automated installer without having to type in all those commands. Now, this installer is not as modern as you would find in Linux Mint, Manjaro, MX Linux, Arco Linux, or any of the other modern distributions, but it is an installer. It saves you from having to type in all the commands, and it makes the installation a lot faster. So I'm going to walk you through that, but I have a caveat. I'm going to do two things that most people won't do when they're using the automated installer. I'm going to make an adjustment to the Pacman configuration file, and I'm going to manually install my mirrors. Because I like to do my installation from a mirror that is not too far away from me, and I don't like doing installs or downloads from mirrors that are on the other side of the world. So first, I'm going to change my Pacman configuration. So I'm going to type in vim etc Pacman Conf. I'm going to move down to the bottom, and I'm going to uncomment or take the number sign out of these two lines, verbose package lists and parallel downloads. So I'm activating those two lines. The verbose package list means that when you're installing packages, instead of showing up in a paragraph, they show up in columns vertically. The parallel downloads means you can download 5 things at a time rather than one. So I'm going to delete the number sign, which activates those lines, and I'm going to save the file. The next thing I'm going to do is manually install my mirrors. So I'm going to type this command in, curl O -O. Now that's an O and not a 0. etc Pacman D mirror list HTTPS. I put too many T's in there. :/ archlinux.org mirror list all there. I'm going to hit enter, and if I did it right, it's going to download 900 mirrors from all over the world. So I'm going to vim into it. Vim is my favorite text editor. Vim /etc Pacman D mirror list. So these are mirrors all over the world. Now what I'm going to do is I have a few mirrors that I know I like to use. So I'm just going to do a search for them. Hacking and Coffee is a mirror that's in the United States. It's very fast and dependable. I'm going to delete it from the list and bring it to the top. I'm going to paste it, and I'm going to delete the number sign, which activates the mirror. So all these other mirrors that have a number sign in front of them, they're deactivated. If you want to activate them, you got to delete the number sign or the pound sign that's in front of them. Now I'm going to go and get another mirror. I like America package build. That's a good mirror. I'm going to go to the top, and I'm going to paste it. I'm going to delete the number sign. Another mirror that's good is constant. Constant is another mirror from the United States. I'm going to delete it. I'm going to take it to the top. I'm going to paste it, delete the number sign. And one more mirror I'm going to get from Canada, from the University of Waterloo. There it is. This is from the University of Waterloo Science Club. I'm going to use this mirror. I'm going to go to the top. I'm going to paste it, delete the number sign. So now I've chosen 4 mirrors. I brought them to the top and activated them. I'm going to leave all the other mirrors there. I don't need to delete them because they're deactivated because the number sign key is in front of them. So now I'm going to save the file. Right click. And the file is saved. Now I'm going to sync my mirrors. Pacman. And before I do that, let's just clear the screen. I'm going to sync my mirrors. Pacman, capital S, YY. So now I'm going to do the automated install. Now you can skip these past 2 steps. You don't have to do them. I'm going to type in Arch install. Hit enter. So English is what I want. Keyboard US, that's okay. Mirror region I'm going to skip because I manually selected my favorite mirrors. Locale language, it's English US. I'm going to change it to Canada US. Just going to search for English Canada. There it is. So I'm going to select English Canada. And that's done. Now I'm going to select my drive. I'm going to go down to the bottom one. Yours might be at the top, but mine is at the bottom. It's the 40 gig virtual drive that I created. So I'm going to use my space bar to put an asterisk there. I'm going to hit enter. Encryption password, I'm not going to encrypt this installation. Bootloader is grub. Swap, it says true, but I don't like to use a swap file or a swap partition, so I'm going to say no. Host name is Arch Linux. I'm going to call this Arch Installer. I'm going to hit enter, but you could leave it the way it is. You can make this whatever you want it to be, and this can be changed after your installation is done. It's not hard to do. I'm going to call this Arch Installer. Hit enter. Now root password, I'm going to create a root password. Now it's telling me the password is too simple, but that's okay. It's going to let me keep it. I'm going to type it in again, and my password is done. User account, I'm not going to create a user because I'm going to do a base installation with this automated install. And then afterwards, in the same video, I'm going to download my configuration files from my GitLab repository. And I'm going to install all the software I like to use. And also create a user. So let's continue. I'm going to skip this user account because I'm going to do this after the fact. I'm not going to use profile. Audio is going to be added after the fact. Kernel, I'm going to change the kernel from the Linux kernel. I'm going to hit the space bar and take that asterisk out. I'm going to go down to the LTS. I like to use the Linux LTS kernel. LTS stands for long-term support kernel. So I'm going to hit the space bar and put the asterisk in there, hit enter. Additional packages. So now I'm just going to install a few packages that I'll need to complete my post installation Arch Linux. So I'm going to type in Vim, uncomplicated firewall, Git, and Xterm. And I'm going to hit enter. And now you can see they are there. I can't use my mouse yet because my mouse is not installed. You can't use the mouse in a TTY. Network configuration, I'm going to hit enter. I'm going to scroll down to use network manager. That's the one I like to use. If you don't install a network manager or some type of network, after installation is done, your installation won't have any access to the internet. Now the time zone is on UTC. I'm going to change this to Canada Eastern. Now I have Canada Eastern in there. So automatic time sync, I'm going to leave it the way it is, true. Optional repositories, I'm going to just skip that. And now I'm ready to do my install. Oh, now it's saying I'm missing, now this is good. I'm glad I made this mistake because if you missed a step, if you missed an important step, it's going to warn you. And I missed an important step. So I'm going to scan up. And I didn't do my drive layout. I'm going to hit that, scan down to wipe all selected drives, hit enter, and I'm going to pick ext4. Would you like to create a separate partition for home? I'm going to say no. You can say yes if you want. And I'm going to say no, I don't need to have a separate partition for home. And that's it. So I'm going to put my arrow by install, hit enter, and this base installation is going to take less than 5 minutes. And then after that, I'm going to reboot my system. I'm going to boot into my system as root. And then I'm going to create a user. I'm going to give him a password. I'm going to give him sudo privileges. Then I'm going to log out and reboot. Not reboot, but I'm going to log out and log back in. Log out of root and log back in as my user. Then I'm going to install my GitLab repository. And I'm going to do an automated installation of all the software I like to use. And then I'll be done. And that's not going to take long. So the installation is going pretty fast, but I'm just going to pause the video for a bit. And I'll come back to you when it's finished downloading. Okay, I'm back. That didn't take that long. A minute or two. As a matter of fact, I didn't even get out of my chair. So would you like to root into the configuration? I'm going to say no, because at this point I like to reboot. Okay, so now I'm going to type in reboot. And I'm going to boot into my base installation of Arch Linux. And if you watch my manual install, you'll know that this was a lot faster and a lot easier. So I booted in. I don't have a user made yet, so I'm going to log in as root. It's asking for my password. And now I'm logged in. Now what I'm going to do is I have to adjust my Pacman configuration file again. I won't have to readjust my mirrors, but this file, after the installation, if you want it to be the way I made it, you have to redo it again. So I'm going to type in vim etc Pacman Conf. And I'm going to go down and activate these two lines. Verbose package list and parallel downloads. I'm going to save the file. And now it's saved. I'm going to clear the screen. Now there's two ways to clear the screen. You can type in clear and hit enter, or you can hold down the control button and hit L. So I cleared the screen, and now I'm going to create a user. So I'm going to type in user add -m Mench. Hit enter. Now I'm going to give Mench a password. I'm going to type in PASSWD. Remember, it's not password. You leave out the O and the R. PassWD. Mench. And I'm going to give him my powerful password. I'm going to retype it. And the password was updated successfully. I created Mench. He has a password. Now I'm going to give Mench sudo privileges. So I'm going to type in this command, vim etc. doers. And I'm going to scan down. I'm going to copy this line here. And I'm going to take out the root and type in Mench. And this is going to give Mench sudo privileges. I'm going to save the file. Now I'm going to log out of root and log back in as Mench. So I'm going to type in the word log out. I'm going to type in Mench, asking me for his password. Now I'm logged in as Mench. So let's do an update. So I'm going to type in sudo Pacman SYU. Type in the password, and it worked. So Mench has a password that works, and he has sudo privileges. But as you can see, there was nothing to update. One of the beautiful things about Arch Linux is when you do a fresh installation, there's never an update to do until 6 hours later or a day later. Because Arch is a rolling release, there's updates to do every day. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a file, a folder called, I'm going to type in mkdir period config. So make dir.config. Now I'm going to type in ls and -a just to make sure it's there, and you can see in the blue my folder .config is there. Now I'm going to download my GitLab repository. So I'm going to type in I'm going to type in git clone gitlab.com/ardibus1/mench.git. And if I typed it in right, it's going to clone there it is. So I just downloaded my GitLab repository. I'm going to cd into it. cd Mench. Now I'm in my Mench directory, which I downloaded from GitLab, and I'm going to install auto app. So I'm going to do -auto hit enter, and it's downloading my files. So I'm downloading all the software. So it's downloading 446 files from the Arch Linux repository. This is not going to take long. It's almost done. Okay, I'm back. I paused the video for a little bit. I would say this took less than 5 minutes to install 446 files. And now I'm going to run my auto configuration. So just to remind myself what the file is called, I typed in ls-space-a, and I'm going to run this. If you see in the green on the top line at the far right, there's a file called run configs. I'm going to run that. So I'm going to hit /run, and I'm going to hit my tab button, and I'm going to hit enter. Now it's finished. I'm going to hit enter again. Now I'm just going to do something just to make sure my firewall was activated. I know it was, but I'm just going to make sure, because I like to make sure my firewall is always installed and activated. So I'm going to type in sudo uncomplicated firewall status, and you can see it's active. Now what I'm going to do is reboot the system. So I'm going to type in reboot, hit enter, and we're almost done. And if you did watch my manual installation of Arch Linux, you will notice, well, not only was it a longer video, it was 2 videos, because I made one video for the base installation and one video for the post installation of installing my desktop and window managers and all my apps. But because this installing Arch this way with the automated installer, the base is much faster, and it would be even faster if you didn't adjust the Pacman configuration file or manually install your mirrors. It would even take less time. So anyways, I'm ready to log in. The hamburger menu at the top right. And instead of going into Cinnamon, I'm just going to go into Awesome. Let's make sure it's stuck. It did. Okay, now I'm going to type in my password. And there we are. A fresh, brand new installation of Arch Linux with the awesome window manager. Now I'm going to type in the terminal, and I use my keyboard to do that. So let me show you how I'm doing that. Here's my menu. And before I do that, I'm just going to refresh the screen, make it a little larger. I'm going to go down to Xterm, and there are a few more things I want to do before I'm finished. So what I'm going to do is type in this command, sudo etc password. And I missed a step. I'm going to type in, you have to type in Vim or Nano, whichever one you installed, but we installed Vim. So this is the command, sudo vim/etc password without the O and without the R. I'm going to hit enter. It's going to ask me for my password. So the first line, line 1, I'm going to go to the end. I'm going to delete bash and put ZSH. Then I'm going to scan down to line number 18 where it says Mench. I'm going to go to the end of the line. I'm going to delete bash. I'm going to put ZSH. Now I'm going to save the file. I'm going to close the screen. I'm going to log out. So I'm going to use my mouse to log out, quit. Now I'm going to log back in. Put my password in. I'm going to refresh the screen just to make the print a little larger so it's easier for you to read. And here's my awesome window manager. Let's see if anything's working. Let's click on Htop. So you can see I gave this virtual machine 4 processors. I gave it 4 gig of RAM, and it's running on 209 megabytes. Let's see if Firefox is working. And there you go. So this is how you use the automated Arch installer with my GitLab repository for the post installation of the base install. Thank you for watching my video. Don't forget to push that button and subscribe to the channel. I am the Linux Mench.